Hello everybody, and welcome back to Let's Play EVE Online. In between the last episode and now, I've done a little bit of off-screen grinding. I worked our standings up with the Theology Council so that we can do level 2 agents for them. And that's actually what we're going to be doing today. Here will be our first mission. Here's a mission suited for someone of our caliber. There have been a few of those dreaded Blood Raider pirate vessels spotted terrorizing passerbys in a nearby system. We require you to find them and destroy them. Supplied you with a bookmark to the last known location of the enemy ships. We need to put them out of business ASAP. So get going. So, what we're going to do is set destination. One thing I'm going to show before we do anything, though, is I've upgraded our ship slightly. We now have a Tech 2 damage control, which gives equivalent armor resists to that of the Adaptive Plating Tech 2 version. Adaptive Resistance Plating Tech 2. So it has the exact same resist bonus as this. Well, not quite the exact same, but close enough. And we could have fit it as well, but it just makes more sense to use the damage control because it just gives you more EHP. And I also upgraded our armor repair to a Tech 2. We could have done this a while ago, I just didn't notice. Other than that, nothing else has changed. So now let's accept this mission. This will probably be a decently large part of the videos. We'll be just doing different security missions. Because, well, it's probably one of the only ways, easy ways, an alpha will have to make ISK. There are a few more risky things we can do, and we'll try those when we can fly cruisers. But they do involve a very particular fit that I will have to make sure works. Now that we're here, though, we can right-click in space. Warp off to our mission. We'll want to turn our armor repairer on. It actually seems like, yeah, there's a fair number of little anomalies in this system. We might want to do those up once we're done this. Also, I'm going to quickly do something here. Doop. 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 I don't need to see where we are anyway, so.
Warp drive active.
Now let's go through this acceleration gate, and this should take us to those Blood Raiders. Here we go. Here they are. 3 Corpi Raiders and a Corpum Archreaver. Now we're going to orbit this cruiser. And approach. Well, that is orbiting. But you know what I mean. Let's actually load the radio crystals, because I picked those up as well. Just so we have something that can hit within our entire lock range. Which is still 27 kilometers. It's actually the maximum range of the radio crystals, which is kind of nice. It means we can fire out to the very edge of our range now. Our lock range, anyway. Going to lock up these frigates, and we're going to take the frigates down first. I shouldn't have stopped firing. Should keep firing here. As we close in a bit on range, I'm probably going to switch energy crystals. About here should be good. Switch over to multi-frequency. Start firing. Turn our afterburner off. There are a few reasons I should probably actually be using a micro warp drive instead of the afterburner. I just prefer afterburners myself. Is that one dead? Now we kill off this other frigate. Start locking up this cruiser, which you'll notice hasn't hit us yet. This is why we wanted to orbit the cruiser. At this range, he can't really hit us. And we're pretty safe to just kill it now. We'll deal with these Corpi engravers once they get a little close. But for now, we're just going to keep melting away at this cruiser. Because that's all we actually have to do. Wait for the explosion. Boom. Well, let's take down these frigates anyway. To burn her on. Because it just, as you know, it helps us with our velocity. Yes, their range is actually slightly further than our own. You also might notice that our shields are going away really quickly. These NPCs, firing lasers, are dealing EM damage. EM thermal damage. The two things our shields are the weakest to, and our armor is actually the strongest to. Given we're an armor tank, that means they're not really a threat. Now just kind of start looting a bit, because that's all of them. You have 4 wrecks to clean up, so might be something. Nothing really of particular value to us yet. More just stuff of minor annoyance in, you know, an extra ultraviolet crystal. The small YF-12 smart bomb wouldn't be the worst if we could safely use one, but where we are in high sec, we can't. Concord does not take too kindly to you hurting anyone else for any reason. And it's probably the best that we stay on Concord's good side. Now, I'm going to test something, because depending on how much damage this thing takes to kill, I might try killing it. Okay, it's not killable. Well, that answers that. I just know there's some missions where I believe I've mentioned where it's actually quite beneficial to destroy structures. Now, let's do some of these combat sites before we go turn in the mission.
Warp drive active.
This one's with dealing with drone assembly. It's dealing with rogue drones. Large hollow asteroid make an ideal location for rogue drone hives. It's something this group of rogue drones seems all too aware of. Rogue drones deal, I believe, kinetic thermal damage. Steer and open fire. Scimitar LV. Infestor LVs. You notice they also tend to move around a lot. This one isn't moving at all. We might as well shoot him. There's it dead. And that's why you should always stay in motion, kids. Where we're using beams, we don't really have the best tracking. So it's generally better for us to pull a bit of range and fire from close to the end of our fall off. Here's a sender, Alvi. Probably the best bounty we've gotten so far with this. A few more drones. So you notice this is very much like the mission we just did, but in waves. Well, it's just like in waves, but we don't need to get a mission, the mission from the agent to come and do this. We can just come and do this. But as you might guess, with us just being able to come here and do this, other people can also come to this exact site while we're doing it. So you might occasionally end up with unwanted help. But there's the end of that. Let's move off to this blood refuge. There is a reason I'm doing these, and hopefully I'll get to show it. There should be enough sites here that statistically I should get to show what I want to show, but if I can't, I'll show it at some point later. Shouldn't take us terribly too long to clear through these missions. This one might put out a little more damage. This one has a couple of sentry towers. Let's clear those away, because those hurt. The light missile battery is definitely first. We really don't want to be taking that much damage while fighting everything else. This is with its low rate of fire. It often doesn't get a chance to fire more than that once. Let's come loot it because we can. While we're shooting at its friend, the other sentry. So we're back to fighting Blood Raiders now, as up here would bring you to realize, hopefully. It's a crane. Too bad we can't take that crane. Watch the beautiful explosion. Oh, we're basically right on their spawn point. You notice Blood Raiders like to pull a bit more range than rogue drones do, which is kind of good for us. Because that means that we generally don't have to move much, but they also will occasionally carry tracking disruptors, which, while this one isn't doing a whole lot, it's still kind of annoying. Oh, here's a destroyer. Let's fire away at him. He's not a big threat. He's already down. Here's another one. If these guys all came at once, they might actually be a bit more of a threat. But where they're just coming in basically 1 to 3 at a time, we can handle this really easily. And there's the end of this. Now there's a couple wrecks here for us to clean up. So let's quickly go loot the field and then move on to the next site. Shouldn't take us too long to finish looting the field because, well, 3 wrecks, and with our afterburner on, this should take no time. Hopefully we'll get something of some particular value. It's not looking too likely though, which kind of sucks. Notice there is also ore here. Nothing really worth coming back for. And web of fire. That might actually be helpful to us at some point later. Next is a drone assembly. Remnants of a small outpost, probably used by smugglers. Okay. There's actually quite a few drone sites here. I'm not sure if drone sites in HiSec can actually give what I want to have happen. Yeah, we need to be Omega to use missiles. But we will find out if they can. Fire. The reason we didn't stop to loot the rogue drones is they don't actually drop loot. Simple as that, really. Clear out this one frigate there. It's almost dead. Clear out this other frigate that feels like trying to kite us. We really don't have to worry about moving much. Let's actually change crystals to ultraviolet. Should give us enough range to hit him rather nicely. We should probably just be using ultraviolet, to be honest. It's not going to hurt us too much to use it instead of our multi-frequency, where it's basically multi-frequency, just with a bit more range, a little bit less damage. Nearly got this destroyer dead. We could probably have killed it a little faster if I pull range, but I'm lazy. So we're just going to sit here. Here's another spawn. Ready to fire on whatever we lock first. Destroyer, it seems. It's probably actually best we clear the destroyers first, where they'll be putting out more damage than the frigate will. Basically, just order targets however you feel you need to order them. I'm fairly confident in our tank, so I'm not going to be too picky with how I'm ordering targets. Orbiting. Yeah, we effectively, so long as we don't take more than 1/5 of our armor in damage every 5 seconds, we're good. Because that's basically what our armor repairer is repairing. It's just a bunch of feldspar. Okay, as you can see, no loot. There's actually a chance they might drop something, but it's not really a high chance. Again, we'll have a destroyer first. This, I might actually fully order the destroyers first. Because, yeah, they're gonna be a bit of a threat to us this time. Let's actually get some velocity of our own going here. That will help mitigate damage, so long as we don't move in a dumb direction. Even moving like that isn't the worst. You'll generally notice, though, that we are missing a lot more shots than we would have if we had stayed sitting still. And it's because our own velocity affects how our weapons track. So in this case, the fact that we're moving a good 700-800 meters per second is also affecting our own tracking, as you'll generally see with the angular velocity and transversal. It's not the biggest deal, but it can make a bit of a difference. I just don't want to get too far away from the spawn point, or I would just fly away in one direction for a bit. We got a decent little payout. It's not the kind of payout I'm used to seeing, but what I'm used to seeing comes from an Omega character in nullsec space, so this is pretty good for where we are, the kind of payout we just got, where we are and what we're flying. There we go, more destroyers to kill. It's actually, yeah, let's orbit this one. Shoot this one. You'll notice we're actually taking a fair bit of damage. If we were still sitting still, we might be in a little more trouble than we're in now. But as it stands, we can probably handle this. You'll note we have to lose a fair little bit of our armor before it would start becoming an issue for us. Let's close the orbit in a little tighter on this destroyer. And start killing off his little frigate friends. Because at this point, we've mitigated most to all of the damage it'll be putting out, so we no longer really have to care about this destroyer. And at the speed we're moving, it's not really moving anymore, so we don't have to worry about it bumping us into anything either. And also, I realized we're using the multi-crystals again after I said, hey, let's just not use those. I'm a sucker for more DPS, and, well, DPS is multi-frequency's game. Waiting on that guy to actually die. There we go. Now open fire on the Devilfish Alvey. I realize this has been going on for a while, so I think after we finish this, I'm going to end this episode. And I guess we'll get to start our next episode in space. I forget how long these sites can take if you actually have to care about your HP. If this ship could be properly fit, we could just sit and permatank them on our single armor rep. But I can't properly tank the ship because we just don't have the skills for it, and we can't actually have the skills for it, so... Ooh, this is actually what I wanted. The Rogue Drone Asteroid Infestation. Your scanner has picked up a transmission originating from a nearby system. It'd be wise to investigate this mysterious signal further. What we just got... Oh, I need expeditions. Is something pretty cool. And it's in HiSec. So, I thank you all very much for watching this episode of Let's Play EVE Online. And I hope to see you again next time when we go after this Rogue Drone Asteroid Infestation. See you all then.